Hello everyone, this is Running on Empty Answers video. I got about 40 some comments here, and let's get this done. It's early in the morning, and I'm trying to get her done here, because it's gonna be a pretty long video, I imagine. A lot of multiple choice, multiple parts questions in here as well, as I normally get. Thank you everyone who commented. Alright, so do you think Blur will ever make another album? This is something that I've been thinking about personally myself for a while, honestly, even after the Magic Whip. You just never know, honestly. You really just never know with Damon. It really just depends on the rest of the members of Blur, I think, honestly. Damon could get the urge to come back. I have a feeling that the Magic Whip is probably the last Blur album. I do have a little bit of a feeling that we probably won't see another Blur album. But, you just never really know, because I'm sure Damon was thinking that the Magic Whip was never going to be a thing at the time. So it might be another big hiatus before we even see anything else again, but you never know. I feel like if the Magic Whip is going to be the last Blur album, I wouldn't exactly cry. I do think it's a great album to kind of end a legacy on, honestly. I think they had a perfect return to form in the Magic Whip. So, I mean, if that's really the stopping point for Blur, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. But, you never know. Damon is a mysterious entity, honestly, when it comes to getting Blur together. And if they tour again and the same kind of situation happens where the Magic Whip came to be, we probably will see another Blur album. So you never know. I do feel like it is probably the end, but if there is another one, I'm not going to complain. I can guarantee you that. Do you consider the Kelly Urchis song In My Dreams a Gorilla song? I've actually been listening to a little bit of Isolation because I really did like Callie's parts in Humans on She's My Caller and stuff like that. I can't really get all the way into the album. I feel like it starts sounding kind of samey in there with the dreamy stuff or whatever like that. In My Dreams from that album, though, actually is or was a song off of Humans that Damon gifted to Callie for her album. So In My Dreams started out as a Gorilla song, and I can kind of hear it in the music, honestly. When I listen to the music of the song In My Dreams, it sounds like a Gorilla song, especially a Human song. It's really electronic. Damon is actually on the track In My Dreams for a little bit for a verse. They actually credit it as Gorillaz on the track. So you could say it's 2D singing on that with her. But In My Dreams actually did start out as a Gorilla song and was gifted to her by Gorillaz. So I personally like the song a whole lot. It is a Cali song. It's no longer a Gorilla song, though, to answer your question. But it does have a really Gorillaz sounding influence to it, and given the origin, it makes sense. Do you think Gorillaz Phase 4 ended too early? This did definitely feel like it just flew by, didn't it? I mean, it's pretty crazy. We did get a lot of stuff this phase that I don't think a lot of people realize. I feel like the promotion for this album was pretty extreme, especially compared to Plastic Beach. Plastic Beach feels like there was hardly any marketing for Plastic Beach. It feels like there was absolutely no marketing, no advertising for that album. But with Humans, I feel like they really advertised the shit out of it. I mean, the stuff that they were doing with the app, the house party stuff where you could go to a certain location and listen to it. I mean, there was that thing that turned everything magenta in the real world into Gorillaz content. I mean, it was pretty intense marketing that they had for Humans. It still didn't get much commercial success, the album itself, but it was a little bit more intense. We got a huge tour out of it. I mean, Plastic Beach, the biggest thing from Phase 3 was the tour, and I think that's one of the biggest things about this phase was the Humans tour. It did feel like it ended way too early. I was really surprised when I saw that Jamie's son said that the new album that we're getting in a few months is going to be a whole new phase, going to be a Phase 5. I honestly think this is the beginning of the end on calling these Gorillaz things phases. I don't think we're really going to be going by the whole phase thing anymore. Much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I guess we're just going to stop calling these phases. But yeah, it did feel like it ended way too early to go ahead and be starting something else. But, you know, I don't really care that much, honestly, about the whole phase thing. I just want more music. That's all that's really important to me, honestly. Same thing when it comes down to the really, really kind of ridiculous amount of lore that the characters have been getting this phase. I mean, there's hardly any story going into humans, it seems like, for the characters. The characters have been less important than ever in Phase 4, which is a little disappointing. The Gorillaz, the characters themselves, they're more like just a face for the band other than the band themselves, which is a little disheartening. This thing has totally turned into something completely different than what it started out as. It started out as something that was going to be like a mysterious, you don't know who the real people are behind this. These are the actual band members, into Damon being able to just play with whoever he wants to play with and do more than just rock music with Blur. That's what this has become. And while I'm not a huge fan of the characters taking such a backseat to Gorillaz stuff nowadays, I still love this band and I still love what Damon does, and the music is the most important part to me, for sure, honestly, but it is a little disheartening that the characters are so non-important anymore when it comes to this project. Who's your favorite Gorillaz collaborator? That would definitely be De La Soul, just because De La Soul has been on some of the biggest hits for this band. I think their flow matches up well with Gorillaz sound, with, you know, Superfast Jellyfish and Feel Good Inc. and Moments. Little Dragon would definitely be my second favorite, though. I absolutely love Little Dragon's voice on To Binge and Empire Ants. She is wonderful, so she's definitely my second. But De La Soul is definitely the first when it comes to collaborators. Do you like Metallica? I like the Black Album by Metallica. I wouldn't be able to name you much more that Metallica has done, though. I mean, like, I know album names like Ride the Lightning and stuff like that, but I couldn't tell you much else about them. But I do own the Black Album on CD over here in my collection. Do you have any favorite one-hit wonders? Most of my one-hit wonders come from one-hit wonders of the 80s. You got songs like, Take On Me by a-ha, Come On Eileen, Dexy's Midnight Runners, Soft Cell's Tainted Love, Flock of Seagulls, I Ran. Yeah, I really like all of them 80s one-hit wonders. They're definitely guilty pleasures of mine, honestly. I know some of those bands are always like, they absolutely hate those songs because they're the only songs that anyone wants to hear by them, but it's still making them the most money, so I wouldn't hate it if I was a one-hit wonder. Which Gorillaz songs are your favorites from all the main studio albums? This is really hard because I really like all of the Gorillaz albums as a whole, honestly. I feel like Gorillaz albums should be listened to as complete experiences. Because let's see. The first album, I really like Rehash. Rehash is a great way to start the first album. I really love the sitar and the acoustic guitar in the background there. Rehash is great. Tomorrow Comes Today is great. 5-4 is great because that's one of the rare Gorillaz songs. Double Bass is really good as like a good Gorillaz instrumental. It's really funky, and I don't know, I really like Double Bass. I mean, honestly, I can't really tell you favorites because I love the albums as a whole. That's just how I listen to them. It's how I've listened to them for the past, like 10, 12 years now. What are your thoughts on bands Tame Impala and 21 Pilots? I know Tame Impala is more like aren't they kind of something to do with like trying to create like a more psychedelic sound, like trying to bring back some 60s, 70s influences? I don't know. I don't really listen to Tame Impala that much. I do know of them. And 21 Pilots, the only thing I like by 21 Pilots is the singles. I really like Ride, and I really like Stressed Out. I really like what is that song from Suicide Squad? I can't think of the name of it now. But yeah, I'm not a huge 21 Pilots fan though, honestly. For some reason it seems like Gorillaz fans are also huge fans of 21 Pilots. I'm just that rare exception that does not care for 21 Pilots. Honestly, they seem a little fake to me. Honestly, they seem a little fake. Their fan bases can be a little kiddie too, a little bit. I don't know. And could you re-review 13 by Blur? I know I need to do that. I mean, it's been so long on this channel, about 6-7 years ago, that I reviewed the discography for Blur, and my 13 and Parklife reviews got taken down off of this channel because I used some clips from an award show for the Parklife review, and I used some songs from 13 for the 13 review, and YouTube striked them, so I had to take them down. I do need to re-review those again because those are two of my favorite Blur albums, especially 13. 13 is one of Blur's best albums ever made. I'd like to talk about that again. That was one of my favorite reviews too from the old days of this channel. I feel like I really knew what I was talking about in that video. Predictions for the title for the Gorillaz album in 2018. It's really interesting. You know, I don't know what they might call this thing. I heard some names thrown around, something called Outsiders with a Z on the end, and I heard one that might be called Robots with a Z on the end. I don't know if they might pull a fall thing and call it The Spring. I don't know. You know, you just, you never know with them, honestly. I feel like it might be some kind of variation on the human's name, though. It probably might be called, like, Outsiders or Robots or something like that. Something that ends with a Z. I feel like they'll probably pull that whole thing again. If Gorillaz C-Sides got leaked, what would you do? Oh my god. I don't know what I would do. I would listen to it over and over and over again. I would wonder why it took so long for them to finally be some Plastic Beach B-Sides out in the world. I don't know what I would do. I would be extremely happy. I did hear that Arabic kind of version of Crashing Down, but I really wanted to hear the Russell Indent trailer version of Crashing Down. I wish that version would just come out, leak or something. That song sounded so good in the Russell Indent. God, that would have been one of the highlights on Plastic Beach. I imagine that the C-Sides would have made Plastic Beach an even better album, honestly. I feel that. You know, I haven't heard the songs, but I feel like the C-Sides of Plastic Beach might have made Plastic Beach a stronger album. I mean, it's strong already. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything, but there's just some things that were probably cut from the Plastic Beach sessions that should have probably been left on the album. That's just my feeling. What's your favorite demo from Gorillaz? Demo. I like things like the I Got Law from Demo Crazy, those things that started off as just demos that Damon made while he was on tour with Blur and turned into full-fledged Gorillaz songs like Dirty Harry and the Don't Get Lost in Heaven demos. Those are pretty cool. I like the bleep bloppy bloopness of those early recordings. What's your favorite rarity from Gorillaz as of now? I really like Dub Dum. That song from the MTV Music Generator game for PS2 that came out. That Dub Dum by Gorillaz. I really like that song, and I really like Mr. Softie's Balloon Race. I wish we got a legit, like, non-fuzzy version of Mr. Softie's Balloon Race, but that's never going to happen. That song should have been on D-Sides. It really should have. Thoughts on the new Panic at the Disco tracks? I've been meaning to talk about this. I love them. Fuck a silver lining. Fuck a silver lining. It's on there, yeah! I like it. I like it a lot. Brendan is sounding great as usual. Say Amen. That song is fucking sick. I love the music video that came out with that song as well. I think it sounds great. I am a little bit disappointed in the whole fact that this sounds like he's just doing Death of a Bachelor again. It really does not sound any different than Death of a Bachelor type songs to me. But, you know, we only heard 2 songs so far. That opinion could totally change when the album comes out. I'm really, really excited for the album. I'll probably review it on this channel. I haven't been reviewing a lot else because it seems like on this channel, if I don't talk about Gorillaz, then the video doesn't get over 500 views. I don't know why that is. People just like me talking about Gorillaz and not much else, apparently. But yeah, I might touch on the new Panic at the Disco album. I love Panic at the Disco. I'm gonna love them forever. Rich Royal Blood album was better. I really can't comment because I don't listen to Royal Blood. Sorry. Do you like Green Day's cover of Working Class Hero? I do like that cover. I think it's pretty epic what Green Day did with that song. And where would you put Revolution Radio if you were to rank all of their albums? I don't know, man. Revolution Radio is an interesting case for me because it's like, I really like how hard they went on that album, but I also feel like it's one of their more popular albums that they've ever made. Songs like Youngblood really kind of staple that in. I do love Youngblood, though. I love that song. Let's see. If I were to rank it, my top albums from Green Day are Nimrod and American Idiot and Dookie. So I guess I love Revolution Radio. I guess I would put it right after those 3. I guess it would be a 4th favorite, right next to Warning, because I really like what Green Day did with Warning, being more experimental. But I don't, I think Revolution Radio is probably better than Warning, though. For sure. And then you can put all the other albums behind that. Kerplunk being next after Warning, though. Kerplunk, I think, is Green Day's best early work after, you know, they became all mainstream with Dookie. I think Kerplunk is probably the best, apart from the first album. Because the first album is definitely my least favorite. There were some songs on that I just did not like on the first album. Just plain and simple. Do you like The Doors? I do like The Doors. I think I actually have a copy of their first album on vinyl over here. And, yeah, Jim Morrison's voice, man. There's just some great keyboards in The Doors, too. Just, really, really 60s. And I really like that sound that The Doors have. I really like it. Whiskey Bar is one of my favorite Doors songs. I love how weird that sounds. It's so awesome. Any fetishes? I'm pretty tame on my fetishes, especially when it comes to like straight porn and stuff like that. I just like a chick to enjoy herself. I can't really get into that abusing women stuff. I can't get into porn where the woman looks like she's getting tortured. I cannot watch that stuff. The woman has to be looking like she enjoys herself. She has to be at least acting like she's enjoying it for me to get into it. But, you know, I really like a lot of lesbian stuff. I really like chicks scissoring, and I love scissoring, man. I watch a lot of scissoring stuff. That's a big fetish. That really gets me going. I really like scissoring. Scissoring. If you could bring back one celebrity from the dead, who would it be? That would definitely be John Lennon. I would love to see what John Lennon would think of the world today, you know? I would just be really interested to see what John Lennon would have to say about certain things that happen in the world, you know? I would love to hear John Lennon's opinions on things. I wish John Lennon was around to see, like, 9/11 and stuff like that, because John had a great love for New York around the time he got killed. He got shot. John Lennon loved living there. And I just wonder what he would have done if he was able to be an old man when the Twin Towers collapsed. I wonder just what music he would have made. It's kind of mind-blowing to think about what John Lennon might have said if he was around to experience what has happened in the world since his death. Yeah, it's kind of fucking mind-blowing to think. What would John Lennon do? Because, you know, he was such an influence over anything that dealt with politics back then. So, crazy. Do you think The Magic Whip will be the last album by Blur? I hope we see another one, but I doubt it, is my answer, short answer from up at the top. Also, is it true that Damon is done with this phase of Gorillaz? We will get a new The Good, the Bad, and the Queen album. Yes! Damon has already said that he has recorded some things with The Good, the Bad, and the Queen, and we will definitely probably be getting that after this new Gorillaz album. I feel like that's probably what he's going to be doing next, is putting out that brand new The Good, the Bad, and the Queen album. I am so excited for new The Good, the Bad, and the Queen. That album is so unique. There is no other band that has made an album that sounds like The Good, the Bad, and the Queen, and I love it for it. I can't wait to hear what they do next. The Good, the Bad, and the Queen. This album has been delayed for so long. I just can't wait to hear it. It's going to be great. Have you ever at one point gotten into the genre known as post-punk? If so, what are your favorite bands that fall under that label? Does The Clash count? If The Clash counts, definitely The Clash, I would have to say. The Clash have The Clash have this stigma about them of being like this huge punk band, but a lot of their stuff could almost be considered ska music, honestly. It's really interesting. I love The Clash. London Calling is one of my favorite albums of all time. I tried to listen to that Sinesta album or whatever, that double LP of theirs. There's some songs that I really liked on that album, but some I didn't really, honestly. Combat Rock, The Clash. I love The Clash. What is your favorite Graham Coxon album? You know, it's funny. As much as I love Blur, I haven't really listened to a Graham Coxon album in full, honestly. I should really do that, though. I tried to listen to one. I can't remember the name of it. It came out in 2003, I think the credits said. Really like the first song on it. Can't remember what it was called. What would you like to hear if Blur ever did another album? I would like to hear something that was maybe a little bit more... maybe a little bit more Modern Life is Rubbish. I would like to hear something that's a little bit more rock-oriented, you know, because at the time I didn't know what we were going to get with Magic Whip, but now that we've gotten the Magic Whip, I would like to hear something that's a little bit more hard rockin' guitars from Modern Life is Rubbish era Blur. I would like to hear that again if Blur ever made another album, for sure. And what video games are you looking forward to? I think somebody has another question like this later on, but Red Dead Redemption 2... I cannot wait for Red Dead Redemption 2! Oh my god, when Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out, I might have to quit whatever job I'm working at the time, because Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to take over my life for the next, 2 or 3 months. I'm going to be spending Christmas all alone just playing Red Dead Redemption 2 when it comes out this October. I cannot wait! Oh, it's going to be such a good game. The Last of Us 2, there have been some rumors that The Last of Us 2 might be coming out sooner than everyone thinks, which is really exciting because I cannot wait for The Last of Us 2 either. Oh my god, those two games are so they mean so much to me. Red Dead Redemption and The Last of Us and the Uncharted series, those games mean so much to me. Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar Games, and Naughty Dog. Rockstar Games and Naughty Dog are two of the goddamn best video game companies ever. I would love to see another Jak and Daxter game. I love the Jak and Daxter series. I mean, you know, Rockstar Games and Naughty Dog, two of the best fucking video game companies ever. Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm going to be playing a lot of that if that ever comes out, probably for PlayStation 5. Honestly, Cyberpunk 2077 looks really interesting to me. I wasn't a huge fan of the Witcher series, but that looks like a lot of fun. If Green Day makes another album, should they experiment like they did on Nimrod or Warning, or just stick with the usual genre? I would love to see Green Day experiment a little bit harder. Green Day needs some rejuvenation, okay? They really do. Revolution Radio was not that. Revolution Radio was just Green Day making another album. And, it just... I don't know, after hearing songs like Bang Bang and Revolution Radio, the title track, I was expecting an album full of just short punk songs. But we got an album full of short pop punk songs. And I I don't know. I love Revolution Radio. It sounds like I'm knocking it, but just for a return to form from the trilogy and stuff like that, I was just expecting something a little bit more harder, I guess, than what we actually got. So, whatever. I would love to see Green Day do some experimentation, though, but just to try to get some new juices flowing. I mean, like if Green Day did another song like Misery, I think that would be wonderful. They really do. They need to make something different. Green Day, they need a new life. They really do. Have you listened to Demo Crazy by Damon? I've listened to a lot of cuts of Demo Crazy, most namely those Gorillaz demos that I mentioned before. It's really interesting. What are your thoughts on it? It's really interesting to hear Damon's mindset when he's creating songs, because he's just such a creative individual. And you just never really know where those songs are going to pop up. I mean, like, take On Melancholy Hill, for example. When Damon made On Melancholy Hill, that was going to be a Good, the Bad, and the Queen song from the first The Good, the Bad, and the Queen album. And it ended up on Plastic Beach as a Gorillaz song. So, you just never know. It's really interesting. Also, what artists would you like to see Gorillaz collaborate with in the future? I know this name has been tossed around constantly, but I think it would be so cool if it were to actually happen. Daft Punk. If Daft Punk and Gorillaz made a song together, come on, just think about that. Just think about that. Daft Punk and Gorillaz making a song together, that would sound fucking cool as fuck, okay? It really would. Do you know a group called Brockhampton? If so, thoughts? I know the name Brockhampton, but I couldn't tell you a single song for the life of me. Do you think you're going to like the new Gorillaz album? Yeah, I think I might kind of like it. I think I might give it a passing listen. I think I might review it on this channel, and I think maybe I'll come back to it if I'm ever feeling in the mood for it. But maybe I'll like it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna like it. Besides the collab with Gorillaz, MF Doom made a lot of albums. Did you hear Mad Villainy? I actually tried to listen to Mad Villainy a few days ago. It just, when it comes to rap music, I'm really into that jazz rap stuff. I really like Tyler, the Creator's Flower Boy. I really enjoyed that album. I really like Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, and I really like a lot of Kanye West's older albums, like Late Registration. So his type of rap music is not something that necessarily appeals to me, honestly. But I'll give it another try. Do you listen to K-pop? Groups like Blackpink and Twice are pretty good. I listened to that Blackpink when I saw this comment. I really, really enjoyed that song that I heard, honestly. I really liked that. K-pop, I mostly listen to J-pop. Kairi Pamu Pamu is a huge artist for me. I really like her songs. They're really girly and they're really cutesy, but I really like the instrumentation behind some of her songs. For Kairi Pamu Pamu. And there's another one that I really, really like. I can't think of the name. But I will definitely listen to these two artists that you recommended, because I really liked what I heard. Where were you when you found out about Chester's death? I was sitting at my family's business. My family owns a tire store. My family owns it's a place where you buy and service your tires. So I was in there working with my dad early that morning because at the time I had gotten back into radio again. So I was doing an afternoon show. So to fill up the time that I had before I went into my second job, I would go and work at the family business. And I was just sitting there looking on Facebook, and when I first saw the news, hey, Chester Bennington found dead. And I was just so shocked. I was like, oh my god, the lead singer of Linkin Park is fucking dead. I was like, I couldn't fucking believe it. The next morning, I actually did the morning show on the radio, and we had an entertainment section during the morning show where he announced it over the radio about Chester Bennington's death the next day. And it hit me pretty hard. I mean, because it was just like Linkin Park were a huge part of my childhood, honestly, especially the album Meteora, and to just know that he was no longer around, and just all of a sudden it was just, I don't know, it was pretty crazy. I didn't really listen to Linkin Park's latest album, One More Light, because I heard the first single and I thought it was the worst thing that they have ever made in their life. So I didn't really give One More Light a chance, but I really probably should, just to hear the lyrics, because I know after you listen to the lyrics after this has happened, that you get a little bit more out of the album now. But it is such a pain. I just wonder if Linkin Park are going to continue on now, because Linkin Park have been kind of going on as like this whole brand name recognition thing more than just a band now. Linkin Park have become a brand. They are no longer just a band. So I'm really curious to see what the band's going to do now since Chester's gone. I don't know if they'll keep on going or what they'll do. So that's where it was, sitting at work early that morning, being kind of stunned, honestly. Are you excited for Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Last of Us 2? Fuck yeah! Oh my god! My wife isn't gonna see me for fucking months. I'm gonna be down in this basement right over there on the couch on my PlayStation 4 Pro playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Last of Us Part 2. Hell yeah. Do you think the last two Gorillaz albums failed commercially? If they put more effort promoting the albums, that would have helped. Yeah, especially Plastic Beach. Plastic Beach was a fucking terrible selling album. Plastic Beach didn't go fucking anywhere. And you never saw commercials for that album. You never saw any kind of marketing related to Plastic Beach, hardly ever back in the day. I mean, like, unless you were on the Gorillaz website, you really didn't hear shit about that album. They definitely tried a lot more with Humans this time around to get people to listen to that. And I feel like a lot of people have. Humans sold pretty fucking good, honestly, I think. They got some pretty good appeal. But, you know, the only problem with Gorillaz is that they just haven't made a song that appeals as much as Feel Good Inc. in the past few years with the last two albums. They just haven't been able to pull off another lightning in the bottom moment like Feel Good Inc. If Gorillaz can pull off another Feel Good Inc. where you get the general populace just so interested in this fucking song that it gets constant radio play, 12 years later, just like Feel Good Inc., then you're going to get more people buying your album. But if Gorillaz can't fucking put out another Feel Good Inc. level song, then they're not going to get the same amount of, sales or attention that they did when Demon Days came out. They're just not. They need another standout single. And these past two albums, it still hasn't happened. Does music work well with politics? Music can work well with politics. As long as you're not too preachy about it, I guess. I mean, hell, American Idiot by Green Day is one of the biggest fucking political fuck yous of any album ever in the past few years. I know there's some other albums that try to attempt it, but I feel like American Idiot probably does it the best. What's your least favorite Gorillaz album and why? If The Fall will count with this, I'll definitely say The Fall, just based on production alone, because I really like The Fall. But, based on just the iPad production, I guess The Fall would definitely be my least favorite Gorillaz album. If you're not going to count that, though, I would have to say Plastic Beach. And I know people are going to fucking, start throwing spears at me and shit for saying this, but if you're not going to count The Fall, out of the main four Gorillaz albums, I would have to say Plastic Beach. And I love Plastic Beach. I do. I love Plastic Beach. I just think on the same level as the other three albums, you got Demon Days, which is a flagship fucking album for this band. And then Phase 1, I just love the charm of Phase 1. I think Phase 1 has some of the best, most Gorillaz-y sounding songs of their entire discography. I absolutely love it. And then Humans, I know a lot of people didn't like Humans. I understand why a lot of people didn't like Humans. Damon wasn't on it enough. Herp the derp. It's so fucking commercial, and the characters aren't hardly involved at all. Blah, 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 blah. But I love the fucking feel of Humans. I love the dark party fucking vibe of Humans. I love Humans. I can't help it. I'm just one of those people that fucking love jamming to Humans. I love it. I think the album is great from beginning to end. I've even mixed in some of the bonus tracks into my version of Humans. I love it. I fucking love Humans. So, if you're going to go along with some of the more plasticky kind of sounding production on Plastic Beach, I guess that would just make it my least favorite. Even though some of my favorite fucking Gorillaz songs are on Plastic Beach. But Plastic Beach would definitely have to be my least favorite if you're not going to count The Fall. So yeah. That's my opinion, though. What did you think of Linkin Park's latest album? I haven't listened to it. I have not listened to One More Light. I heard the single before the album came out, and I thought it was fucking terrible. I thought it was one of the most annoying songs that fucking Linkin Park have put out ever since The Messenger on 1,000 Suns. I still fucking hate that song. So, yeah. I need to listen to it. I haven't listened to it. We know you love Damon's work, but what do you think of Damon as a person? This kind of goes into that whole thing of where you shouldn't meet your heroes. You know, you hear that all the time. You really shouldn't meet your heroes, because if they turn out to be a fucking asshole, you're gonna, like, be so disappointed that you were ever a fan of them in the first place. I don't know what Damon would be like if I actually had a legit conversation with him. From what I've heard, he's a really nice guy. I mean, like, the closest... I held Damon's hand at a concert one time, because I was front row, and I got really up close to the stage, and Damon held my hand as I was sticking it up in the crowd. He just grabbed onto my hand and held it for a long, long time while he was singing a Gorillaz song. And I was on fucking cloud 9. I was just like, oh my god, I am touching this man. I am fucking touching the lead singer of Blur from the 90s. And it's just like... all of these things that he's done, I am connected to him in this one moment of time. And it was so wonderful. But I've never actually gotten to have like a fucking conversation with the guy. So, I mean, I don't know what he would be like as a person. You watch some documentary stuff with him, like from Bananas and stuff like that, and sometimes it can seem like he's a bit of a jerk. Sometimes. Especially when he gets really angry. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would think of him as a person. I would like to think he would be like super chill though. I would love to play Tender with him, because I actually know how to play Tender by Blur on a real guitar, so I would love to jam out a little Tender with Damon Albarn. Oh my god. I hope somebody would film that moment so I could experience it over and over again. Do you like Eminem? I like some of older Eminem. I like older singles of him, but I haven't really heard any of his newer albums. Did you get a chance to listen to Kendrick Lamar's Damn, and what do you think it compared to his other albums? Comparison to the To Pimp a Butterfly. I really like parts of To Pimp a Butterfly, namely the song These Walls. I really like These Walls. That's one of my favorite Kendrick Lamar songs. And This Dick Ain't Free. I did put out a review of To Pimp a Butterfly. I think I was kind of wrapped up in a lot of the hype at the time that album came out, though, so I don't really agree with a lot of the opinions that I had on it at the time, because I think I was fanboying a little. I haven't really heard a lot of Damn, I'm going to be honest with you. Just because on first listen it just sounded like traditional rap to me, and like I said before, I kind of like the more jazzy rap kind of stuff. That's why I gotta say I kind of like To Pimp a Butterfly, and Good Kid, Mad City is still my favorite Kendrick Lamar album, because I like that album almost in full. The songs Swimming Pools and Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, those are fucking classic songs. Good Kid, Mad City is still my favorite Kendrick Lamar project for sure. I need to give Damn more of a chance for sure. Haven't listened to One More Light. I need to listen to One More Light. I know. Do you watch music critics here on YouTube? I know that you like the needle drop. like, I'm not going to mention that person's name. Spectrum Pulse, The Rock Critic, Wonky Angle. My thing with music critics on this side, other than Anthony Fantano, is I feel like, me personally, I'm not a part of the whole music reviewing community, especially not lately. Back in the day, I was feeling like I was getting the boot from being able to do this, honestly. There was something about the kind of general atmosphere amongst other music critics on this site that make me feel like I'm not allowed to be a part of this, just based upon, I don't know if it's just based upon my upload schedule, how it's just, I go so long sometimes without putting out anything, or if just because I don't like what's popular all the time, I guess. I have a thing about pop punk music that I just can't get into at all, and I know that's a huge genre that people just fucking love nowadays. I don't know if it's because my love of classic rock and you know, bands from the 60s and 70s that people don't really care about anymore. When I was doing my classic album review series, I was just doing shit so differently than the rest of the music reviewers on this site, and I feel like I couldn't fit in. I can't fit in with the rest of the music reviewers on this site. So honestly, every single time I watch these people, especially the ones that are way, way, way more popular, and the ones that are listening to this music that I personally would never want to listen to, it kind of upsets me a little in a way. It kind of makes me sad to watch some of these people, because I just feel like I'm not supposed to be here. I just feel like that I'm not supposed to be doing this at all. And that's about 2% of the reason why I haven't really been doing this as much as I have, because I feel like, you know, nobody fucking wants me. Nobody cares. So, whatever. I mean, you know, I do go through this problem as well, whereas if gorillas aren't in the title of any of my videos, that video is not going to get over 500 views. I mean, if people just want me to talk about gorillas, that's fine. And I just won't talk about anything else. That's why I haven't. But yeah, there's just something about the general feel that I have amongst other music critics on this site that I don't really... Besides Anthony Fantano, the rest of them, I just don't want to be a part of it, honestly. I really don't. A few of you that are watching here know my history with one of these people that this guy has mentioned in this. I mean, I'm over it. I don't talk about it anymore, but I used to live with one of the people that you mentioned in here, and he's the one who kind of got me started into doing this myself. But ever since we weren't friends anymore, it's just been kind of just depressing to think about the past on some of these things. So there's my emo-ness. I kind of let in a little bit of my inner thoughts on here that I've never really talked about before. I hope I don't regret that. Will you ever review other new swing bands other than Caravan Palace? If so, like Tape 5, Pavlov, Stellar, Proletar. I really like Pavrov. I'm probably not saying his name right. Pavrov Stellar. I really do like a lot, like a shit ton of his songs. Every single time I type in Electro Swing Collection, there is always a Pavrov Stellar song in that mix. And I really like anything that comes from him. I really, really do. So I will definitely give maybe one of his newer albums a listen, and maybe I'll talk about it. A recording cut off there. Thoughts on Australian bands? I didn't want to leave one question out of this thing. I really like the band Rufus. R-U-F-U-S. They're a band from Australia. I would definitely recommend everyone check them out. Check out their first album, Atlas, and check out their second album, Bloom, because they're both amazing. When it comes to that, I don't really know if what I'm listening to is an Australian band or not, so I can definitely recommend that. So, go check them out. R-U-F-U-S. Check out the song. What the hell's the name of the song? Oh my god, it's killing me. Desert Night. The name of the song is Desert Night. Go check out the song Desert Night by Rufus. Alright guys, that is all of the questions! Finally! So, this video was not as long as I thought it was going to be, thankfully. So, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for another successful Q&A. I will see you guys later. Mr. Mini1235, out. New Gorillaz news. Coming soon. New album. Yay!